Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're glad you could take the time to learn more about our iMBA program here at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. My name is Jody Miller and I'm the Assistant Director for Academic Services, and joining me today is...
My name is Rosie Kanji. I am the Assistant Director of Recruiting and Admissions for the graduate programs.
Great. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk briefly about an overview of the program, as well as some information, give you some information about admissions and submitting an application for our program. And then we're going to leave plenty of time for you to ask some questions, and you can do that using the chat. So if you have a question, please put it in the chat. And as we go through this session, we'll be happy to answer those towards the end. So let's get started. So the iMBA program is a top online MBA program from one of the world's elite universities. So the online MBA program is a complete leadership package. It's an affordable and engaging MBA from this elite university. And it's an economical program as well. Right now, the total cost is just under $22,000 for the program. And you can complete this program anywhere from 24 to 36 months. And the nice part about this is that there's flexibility. So if you're looking to complete the program, say, in 2 years, then as things change with either your personal or professional life, you can adjust your timeline to the degree for up to 3 years. We currently have 2 cohorts in our program. We had one cohort that started in January of 2016, and we just entered our second cohort in August of 2016. So the iMBA is a fully online and deeply engaging program. And so let me explain a little bit now about how this program works. So the program structure, we work across 2 platforms. So a lot of the content that you would work on is housed in Coursera. And Coursera offers these massive online open courses, or MOOCs, and this is where you're going to find a lot of the content for our courses. There you're going to find the course content to include assignments and activities and quizzes. You'll see videos there. There will also be readings that your instructors will put up in the Coursera content. The other part of this is the high engagement portion, which is housed on Coursera. And this is the University of Illinois platform. And this is where truly you receive that high engagement with your instructor and other students in your program. So here we have students who will be participating in live sessions. You will be doing not only individual assignments, but you will also be doing group assignments, as well as your instructor may have live office hours. All of this combined really offers our students a unique and very different perspective on a program structure that you may find at traditional universities. And this gives us a very different and unique way to offer and discuss some of the current topics that are happening in the business world today. The way this course is, or the program is set up, is that you have 6 specializations that you would complete in this degree program. 4 of those are our core specializations, and then we offer 3 focus areas of which you would choose 2 to complete. You're going to do a total of 72 credit hours for this program, and you would also complete 2 capstone projects in any of the 6 specializations that you're going to complete, in addition to 1 program capstone at the very end of your program. Again, this offers a very unique perspective and a very interesting learning experience for our students, as you are going to be engaging with other members of your cohort who are going to bring very unusual and different perspectives to your course content that you may be discussing in your course at that time. One of the other aspects that we discussed just a second ago was live classrooms. So these are our live sessions. This is a picture that you see right now of one of our live sessions in a previous course. And this is a great opportunity for the instructor, the teaching assistants, as well as the students to engage each other in what the current weekly module content is happening or is being discussed at that time. So there's a lot of engagement with this program. You're going to learn a lot, and you're going to learn a lot from the other students in the program as well. We also offer a number of experiences beyond the classroom. So for example, we have program meetups face-to-face. We've done several in Chicago, San Francisco, Dallas, and we also offer these opportunities for networking. So students are going to meet each other. You might meet faculty at some of these meetups. You may also have opportunities to meet with alumni of our MBA programs, as well as from the College of Business and other programs. And this is also a great opportunity for prospective students to be engaged in what's happening with our program by getting an opportunity to talk with current students. Another opportunity for our students is with student meet and greets. So we have a lot of our current degree students who really reach out amongst themselves. They plan their own meetups, and this has been a great opportunity for our students. They're very excited for that chance to meet each other face to face. And we also encourage students to come to campus anytime they're in the Champaign-Urbana area. Come to campus, meet the program staff, meet some of your faculty. So we always welcome students who have the opportunity to come to campus as well. Now this is one of the engagement opportunities, again, that we provide for our students as part of the curriculum. This is what we call our iMBA TV. And in this particular slide, what you're seeing is two of our professors, Professor Larry DeBrock and Professor Greg Northcraft, and they're having a discussion with the Dean of the College of Business, Jeff Brown. And what we're doing with iMBA TV is we're taking the professors and maybe other faculty members or the dean or maybe some of our other associate deans, and they're having these discussions about what is happening in the business world at the current time, what are these issues, and how that relates to the current course topics and discussions that are happening in the courses at that time. And where they're sitting is actually part of our business instructional facility building. This is a large open atrium where students gather, and they sit out here and they engage each other and talk about these topics. And we also will have these discussions at various other places across campus. So our students get to at least see many of the different aspects of our campus. Another opportunity that we provide for our students is speaker series. And this slide shows our Eminent speaker series, which we have been hosting. This is a live interactive series that students can be a part of. They come in and watch it. They're able to maybe submit questions. This particular slide that we're looking at, this was Professor Joe White. He is an instructor here in the College of Business, and he's actually a former president of the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign campus. And he was our first eminent speaker in this series. We've also had a series that took place in Chicago, and we will be continuing this series on an annual basis, and we should have another one this fall that our students will be invited to attend and participate in. So just to give you a little bit of information about who our students are. So right now we have 270 students in the program between our first two cohorts. And we have students, we are truly a global program. We now have students in 23 different countries around the world. And we also have 31 students students in 31 states plus the area, Washington, D.C. area. So we really do have a wide variety of students who are a part of this program. So I'm going to turn things over to Rosie now, and she's going to talk about admissions and the application process.
Thank you, Jody. So now that you've learned about the program, what do you need to do? What are the next steps you need to take in order to get your application submitted and hopefully enroll into the program? So let's start the application process now. To tell you a little bit about what our deadlines are, our round 2 deadline is September 30th. That is coming up in just a few short days. And if you aren't able to submit your application at that time, don't worry, we have our round 3 deadline, which is October 31st. I will be talking a little bit about when you should submit your application, but for now, these are the deadlines, and we'll go into a little bit more detail as to what that means. So what we look for in your application. Once you start an application, that image that you see on the screen is what is your application and what you will be filling out in order to submit. Your application asks you thoroughly about your academic history, it asks you about your personal history, it will ask you about your professional history. One of the aspects that I would like to highlight is to fill out the portion that's your self-reported work history. It's very important for you to fill that section out because it tells us an accurate time frame of when you were in your roles throughout your career history, and it helps us better understand where you're coming from within your career. So here is a brief list of what we look for when we are looking at your application. I will go into detail about all of these aspects and tell you a little bit of kind of what we're looking for each individual applicant. So the first thing we recommend is a minimum of 3 years of work experience. If you do not have the minimum of 3 years for work experience, it is not going to negate your application at all. We still recommend you submit an application, but we will ask for you to enhance your profile in other ways. One of those ways is to submit either a GMAT or GRE, which is an optional component for the application itself, but if you feel that it will enhance your profile and make you more competitive within the application pool, then I would recommend submitting either one of the GMAT or GRE scores. We do not have a preference over one or the other. With that, I will go into what else we're looking at. So we also would like your academic history. If you've completed a degree, whether it be bachelor's or master's or PhD or beyond, we would like to know what your academic history is. So we'll ask for transcripts from the institutions you've attended. Now, if you're a student who attended an international institution, what we'll look for is the transcripts in an English translation, as well as in the native language from the institution country that you attended, as well as the degree certificate in the English translation, as well as in that native language. So with that, we'll move into what's next, and that is an essay. So the essay, we only have one essay, and it is the perfect platform for you to really tell us why it is you're pursuing the iMBA program. What are your career goals? How do you see the iMBA fitting into those goals you have, and how we can help you get there? This is going to be kind of a little nugget about yourself that you tell us, and it'll be a great way for us to get to know you a little bit better. From there, we require a minimum of 3 professional letters of recommendations. Those letters should be coming from employers, supervisors, people who know you really, really well, who can attest to your professional capability, as well as kind of give an understanding of your pursuits and how you have interacted within your company or within a team or group. You can submit more than 3 letters of recommendation. We're absolutely happy to read as 4 or 5 letters of recommendation, but a minimum of 3 is required. Next is the TOEFL or IELTS score report. That is required only for students who have completed their undergraduate degrees from an institution where English is not the native language of the country. So if you if you have been living in a nation where English is not the national language, a TOEFL or IELTS score may be required. If you feel that you might be an exemption from that, we would recommend you contact our student counselors during their office hours, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in detail later on, or send us an email at onlinemba@illinois.edu. And our student counselors will definitely help you kind of clear up whether or not that TOEFL or IELTS score will be required. For those of you who are not familiar with what a TOEFL or IELTS score is, it is an English proficiency exam, and it is a required component for international students, as I mentioned earlier. So going quickly back to that GMAT or GRE, it is an optional component. As I mentioned before, we do recommend you submit a GMAT or GRE if you feel that it will help enhance your profile. If you, let's say, for example, I mentioned the minimum of 3 years of work experience. If you have under 3 years of work experience, or around 3 to 5 years, then we recommend submitting a GMAT or GRE to give you a better kind of profile of who you would be as a graduate candidate. As well as, let's say there is an aspect of your application that you feel might hinder you or might be something of concern for you, and you feel that a GMAT or GRE score will show a better understanding of who you are as an applicant, then we definitely recommend submitting that score. Another way that could be helping you and your application is, let's say your undergraduate GPA was below the 3.0 recommended. It should not deter you from submitting an application. We absolutely recommend you submit an application, because what we do is we review your entire application as a holistic approach. So if one aspect of your application you feel will not be as competitive, then you can bring other highlights into your application, such as the GRE or the GMAT scores. Following that, we will also request for a resume. I know I mentioned that we have a self-reported work history list that we ask you to fill out. We also ask for a resume, so it can give us a full understanding of what kind of roles and responsibilities you had within your positions in your career history. A resume is also a required component. Moving on. So when you would like to start an application, we recommend visiting our website, onlinemba.illinois.edu, or attending an online office hour. There are various times that we offer for office hours where you can talk directly to a student counselor. You can also find those hours on onlinemba.illinois.edu. Some things to kind of highlight are, one, that once you submit an application, the turnaround time will be pretty quick. So my recommendation is to submit your application as soon as you possibly can. If you can submit by the deadline that I just listed, September 30th, that would be wonderful. However, if you are not able to submit an application by that September 30th deadline, that is not a problem. We have our round 3 deadline, which is October 31st. But the sooner you submit an application, the better it is for your application. A couple reasons why is, one, the sooner you submit that application, the sooner our team in admissions can look at your application, review it, see if there are any missing materials, communicate with you what we require, as well as kind of get that process started really quickly. So once your application has been reviewed and fully complete, the next step that could potentially happen with your application is you'll be coming in for an interview. The interviews will be conducted through the online platform, and it will be a half-an-hour interview roughly with someone from our admissions team. Either you can talk to Jody or myself, or for other members on our team. With that as well, once that interview has been completed, our goal is to give you your decision as soon as possible. So our timeline looks to be about 2 weeks or less to release decisions out for each individual applicant. It is on a rolling basis, so each individual's decision will come out at their own time. That goes back to submitting your application early, because the earlier submitted, the sooner you could potentially hear back from us. Along with that, if you do have any questions on your application, you can communicate with our student counselors about your individual application through the online office hours, so you can have Our student counselors review your application with you, give you some advice, and help you prepare fully for your application to go through the official review process with admissions. You can find us on any platform that is shown to you here. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. We also have our Google Plus as well. So if you have any questions, we are actively involved in all of those platforms and would love for you to communicate with us in any way. Now we will open it up to the question and answer portion. So if you have any questions from Jody and I talking to you about the program, about the application process and what it looks like, feel free to submit any questions to us through the chat and we'll be happy to help you with some of the questions. While we wait for some questions, Jody, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you did a great job, Rosie.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So again, as she mentioned, if you ever have questions about the program itself or about admissions or applications, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at that online MBA at illinois.edu address, and we would be happy to answer any of those questions that you have.
Excellent. And so we have our first question from Patrick Kirkner. Patrick asks, I have one outstanding recommendation that won't be filled out till October 3rd. Will I still be considered in the appropriate time or will my application be delayed? Thank you, Patrick, for that question. That is an excellent question. So I recommend, even if your recommenders will not be submitting by the deadlines, to go ahead and submit your application. We can wait for those recommendations to come in, and your application will already go through its first review process. And that way you don't have to worry about getting your application complete and submitted on time. Once the recommenders do submit those recommendations, we will add those to your applications ourselves, so you won't have to do an additional step. And once that application is complete, we'll move forward with the review. Carlos Yankan, sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, asks, for the letters of recommendation, I have them as non-native English speaker. Do we need certified translations? It would be best if we could get the recommender, him or herself, to submit a translated version of the recommendation. So if that individual that you're asking for a recommendation, if that person can provide the translation him or herself, that would be probably the most preferred method. However, if they can get the translation from any of the proper sources of translation, so Jody, and you can talk about this a little bit more in detail. Any translation source that is listed on our graduate college website, which I can tell you is you can find at grad.illinois.edu. They have listed all of the translation methods that we do accept, and so you can have those translations sent from any of the approved translation agencies. So another question we have is from Ankur Gupta. I'm from India on a work permit in the U.S. My question is, if my bachelor's degree is already in English, should I still have a transcript if I attach the degree and mark sheet all in the application? So Ankur, I'm going to answer your question, and then I'm going to answer a little bit more than your question. So for students who have completed their bachelor's degree in India, most typically we do not need a native translation. So that's kind of a neat bonus. So what we will take is the transcripts that list the courses that you had taken in your degree, the terms you attended, as well as the grades you received for the courses. We're asking for the transcript and not the mark sheet of the exams. We would like to see what you have taken throughout that semester and throughout the years that you have been a student. With that, we will also take the degree certificate to complete the transcript requirement.
Rosie, can I jump in and ask you a
Absolutely.
question? So if a student has their transcripts and their certificate of degree, is an original official required transcript? Is that required to be uploaded with the application, or can it be a copy? And if so, then if they're admitted to the program, when do they submit that official transcript?
Absolutely. So when you're submitting your application, you are not required to submit an official copy. We will accept unofficial copies of your transcripts as long as they are part of, as I mentioned, the courses as well as the grades and the degree certificate. The unofficial copies will be acceptable until the very end of the application process. If you have been admitted into the program, that's when we will require official copies of your transcript that are sealed and sent either directly from the institution, or they've been sealed and sent to you and you forward them on to us. We will accept either method, but as long as they're sealed by the institution, and those are considered official transcripts. If you have original transcripts and degree certificates, you can also mail them to us, and we will make copies of those original transcripts and degree certificate, as well as take them to the graduate college ourselves and get that process completed. And once we have done that, we will mail back your original degree certificate and transcripts to you. Jean-Marie asks, I would like to start the program in the fall of 2017. When should I apply for that cohort? That's an excellent question. Jody, would you like to take that one?
Sure, Rosie, thanks. So right now, the only admission cycle that we're admitting for is January of 2017. However, I would suggest that towards the end of January that you start looking at our website, because as soon as the application cycle opens for the fall cohort, we will put those dates out there as soon as that opens. So just keep an eye out for that. Keep going back to our website and checking it. And while you're there, just keep looking around to learn more about our program. I will say that there is a student experience or my experience page on our website. And if you go to it and you scroll down to the bottom, we have some videos from our students, from some of our faculty, and I would highly suggest that anyone take a look at those. I think you will find those to be very informational and helpful if you're looking to learn about the program a little bit further.
Excellent. Our next question is from Jamil. I am enrolled on Coursera. Where do I find my ID for the iMBA program? Jody, would you like to take this question as well?
So even though you're enrolled in the Coursera courses at the moment, you really won't get an ID, or what we call a net ID, here at the university until you're admitted to the program. And once that happens, you're going to be given information in your admission decision letter that you receive from the graduate college. So once that happens, then you'll be able to create your email address here at the university. You'll have a net ID, but your Coursera account is going to be something that's separate from your university account. Now, once you've already established a user account on Coursera, you don't need to create a new one. So if you have a user account and you're doing coursework in Coursera, and make sure you're doing it for a verified certificate. And then we will be able, if you're an admitted student, when the time comes, we'll be able to find your user account in Coursera, and we'll be able to sync up your Illinois and your Coursera information.
Excellent. Carlos asks, for the TOEFL, I have my exam scheduled for October. Can I submit the application without getting the official score by the deadline? Carlos, absolutely. You can submit your application without having that official TOEFL score. What I recommend you do is mention in your application that you are planning on taking that TOEFL and the date that you will be taking it, so that we are aware of the score that will be arriving to us. Make sure that when you do take that TOEFL, that you have it sent to our institution. The code for that is 1836, as well as what we'll do is we'll kind of put your application on hold until that TOEFL score is submitted, and then once that is complete, we will continue on with the application review. Brandon asks, do iMBA students need to get higher marks on the Coursera courses than a regular Coursera student? Jody, would you like to take that?
So there's a couple of different things in Coursera. So when you're out there taking a Coursera course, you're in what's called a global learner community. And once you become part of the degree program at the University of Illinois, then when it's time for our students to take their high engagement course, and they also may need to take the corresponding Coursera courses, we move everybody into what we call a closed learning community. And so it will only be iMBA degree students in that particular community. Coursera is set up as mastery learning, so that means that you're going to go out there and you're going to do the activities, assignments, quizzes, and you'll do them over and over until you get the score that you need to get. The way this is set up with the high engagement portion is that students must pass with a certain percentage. They must pass all of their Coursera activities and assignments to pass that Coursera course. And in order to get the credit towards your high engagement, then you just need to make sure that you do pass that Coursera course. And as we go along, and if you apply to the program and you have more questions about that, please feel free to reach out. It's a very different type of structure than a traditional program, and so we would be happy to explain that in a little bit more detail and talk to you further about that.
Excellent. So the next question is from Andrew. Will there be more focus areas available during this cohort?
That's a question we get quite often. Right now we do have 3 focus areas, 2 of which you would choose from as you're completing your degree. There's always opportunities for new focus areas, but one of the things the program wants to be sure about is that when we are looking at those opportunities and perhaps thinking about adding a focus area, that we're being very deliberate in what we're doing and what we're offering. And so we want to make sure that as we develop those new focus areas, it's something that is very relevant and very happening in the business community at that time. So there are discussions about potential future focus areas, but at this point, there's nothing that we're going to be offering within the end of this year. So I would say that we're not going to see any more focus areas until at least sometime next year.
Andrew also continues to ask, if we are local, will we have access to university facilities such as the ARC? For those of you who aren't familiar with what the ARC is short for the Activities and Recreation Center. It is a recreation facility for the students on campus to work out and stay active and healthy. Jody, would you like to continue on with the question?
Sure. So as an online student, you are going to be charged differently than our campus students. So the tuition that's charged for the Illinois courses where you're going to be doing the credit hours, that is $250 per credit hour for a course. Most of our courses are for credit hours, so that's $1,000 in tuition for a course. And because we're trying to keep the cost of this program relatively low, which we've been very successful at doing, you're not going to pay student fees like many of our on-campus students do. So you won't pay a fee to use the ARC, you won't pay a fee to use, for example, the bus service on campus. So you will not have access to those type of amenities. However, as a student and with your UIN, or I'm sorry, with your net ID and your UIN and your iCard that you can get, you will have access to our library facilities.
Excellent. He also continues to ask, what differentiates the iMBA program from the professional MBA program? So aside from the cost. So of course the cost is one of the things that differentiates the 2 programs. The other factors include kind of locationally. So the professional MBA program is a program for working professionals near the Champaign-Urbana area. It's typically for candidates in the area because you attend classes on Monday and Wednesday evenings from 6 to 9 p.m. At the business instructional facility. So you do have to attend campus classes in order to complete the professional MBA degree. That's one of the first differentiations between the iMBA program and the PMBA program. iMBA is completely online, and the PMBA program you do have to attend campus. Another thing is just a little bit of kind of the professional that you are looking to be with the iMBA or with the PMBA. The iMBA cohorts usually have students within roles that are moving into more executive positions, whereas the professional MBAs are looking to move into director levels as well as higher roles as executive positions as well. but the candidate changes a little bit from the number of years in work experience. So the online MBA typically has students with a little bit more work experience than the professional MBA, as well as kind of the needs. You know, are you more interested in a program where you can have a face-to-face interaction with a professor? Are you more interested in being able to go to your classes, talk with your classmates, and really gain a better, more kind of human interaction rather than working through an online platform, working through video? And kind of just seeing what your preferences are. Are you more of a person who communicates through an online platform and you would like to, your schedule doesn't allow you to come to campus from 6 to 9? Or are you the kind of person who does require coming to campus in order to get your education in a certain format?
And Rosie, I think that was a great answer, and I agree. You know, we have fabulous MBA programs here on this campus. We have 2 on campus. We have the eMBA located in Chicago, and it really is, they're all geared towards very different populations of students. And so if you are in the area, my suggestion is maybe you want to talk to us further about which program is really going to be the best fit for you, for your experience, what you're looking to do with your career, you know, what is your professional plan, say a few years down the road. So I think that is great. And again, reach out to us if you have more questions about any of those programs.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Jody. Andrew also continues to ask, does the diploma we receive indicate in any way that this is the I in iMBA? Some may still discriminate a bit about it. So we have gotten this question quite a few times, and when you receive your diploma, when you receive your MBA, you are receiving an MBA from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Your degree will not have the letter I in it because it is an MBA that you will have earned at the very end of it. And you can also attend the graduation ceremony on campus. So all of our graduates are able to attend the ceremony on campus, and it will also be live streamed as well, so your family members can also see you graduate and walk at graduation.
And I would also add that this program, just because it's delivered online, that does not negate anything from the program. The same instructors teach across all of our MBA programs. The academic rigor is the same, and the expectations that the instructors have of our students is the same as well. They're expecting top quality work produced by our students. And so just because it's an online program does not mean that it is really any different in the academic sense from any of our other MBA programs.
Excellent. Our next question is from Brandon. If a student has already taken a number of verified courses through Coursera, does the 36-month timeline still apply? Jody, would you like to take that?
So I would like to talk to you a little bit further about how long it's been since you've taken some of these courses, sort of what your plan is for moving into and applying for the degree. Generally, we like for students not to go any further than 6 months to 1 year from taking a Coursera course to moving into the high engagement portion if you're in the degree program. With that said, the nice part about Coursera and the flexibility that it offers us is that students can go back, and if they've completed a Coursera course, they can go back and review that information again. It's always there available for you. So that would be something to think about as you move towards doing your application for the program.
Excellent. Our next question is from Sudha. I have been working in the U.S. for over 12 years, but her undergraduate degree is from India. Is a TOEFL score still required? So for individual cases like yours, what I recommend is to communicate with our team, either through our office hours that you can find at onlinemba.illinois.edu, or communicate via email. There are exceptions to completing a TOEFL requirement, and for individual cases such as yours, I would recommend communicating through those platforms with us. Liz asks, I've registered for an iMBA for credit class starting next month. I'm planning on applying for the upcoming cohort. Will the 4-credit course fully transfer to my iMBA? Jody, would you like to take that?
Sure, great. So first of all, thank you for taking that course. We're very excited. I hope you find it to meet your expectations. I'm sure that it will. And absolutely. So if you take our high engagement courses for academic credit as a non-degree student, that is going to transfer towards your degree once you're admitted to the degree program. And doing that is an excellent way to enhance your application to the program. So maybe if you feel like there's a part of your application that maybe isn't quite as strong as you would like it to be, this is one of the ways that you could enhance that, is by taking our courses as a non-degree student. You're still going to pay the $250 per credit hour, but you're also going to be earning academic credit as you're successful in that course. And again, if you're admitted to the program, absolutely that is going to transfer towards your degree.
To add to what Jody said, the application itself has a section for you to fill out whether or not you have taken any Coursera courses as well as any Illinois high engaging courses. We recommend you fill out those 2 sections and list the courses that you have taken so that that can be considered within the application review.
And if you're ever interested in that non-degree option, reach out to our office and we'll be happy to hook you up with the Center for Innovation Teaching and Learning, which is also called CITL, and that is the unit that we use here on campus for our non-degree students, and that's who you would register through.
Our next question is from Carlos. Can we visit the campus in person? And is there a requirement to visit the campus as a part of the program? So I'll start off a little bit and then I'll throw it to Jody. And you are absolutely 100% able to visit the campus at any time you'd like. It is not a required component at all. If you are not able to come to campus, we will not require it of you. But if you would like to, we would absolutely love for you to visit us. And Jody can tell you a little bit about some of the things we offer when you do visit.
So as Rosie said, we don't require residency at all for this program. It is completely online. And we encourage students to come and visit campus because we know you like to make that connection with your school, and you are part of this campus. Even though you're an online student, you're still a part of this program. You're still a huge part of the College of Business, and you're still a huge part of the University of Illinois. So absolutely, we love when students or prospective students come and visit us on campus. And what we ask that you do is just make sure you send an email if you're a prospective student to onlinemba@illinois.edu, and we will be happy to talk with you and arrange some opportunities for you to look around campus, maybe meet some of the program staff on the iMBA team, and just answer any questions that you have.
Excellent. Liz asks, I've registered for an iMBA for a credit course. Will that course fully transfer? I believe that's
I think we answered this
I believe we
question.
answered that as
Yeah.
well. So the next question is the iMBA accredited by the AACSB? Jody, would you like to take that?
So the College of Business is accredited, and that includes any programs within the college. So this is a brand new program, so we are still ironing things out, but yes, to answer your question, it is accredited.
Thank you for that. And that also brings us to our next question. Do iMBA students have access to career services such as the career website, special job postings, recruiting, or career guidance? I'll let you take that as well.
That's fine, thanks. So business career services for the iMBA program looks very different than it does for our on-campus groups. And that is because we are, again, looking at a very different population of student. The majority of our students are professionals who have been in their careers for quite some time. We run the spectrum. We have students that have been in their current careers for anywhere from 4 to 5 years to over 20 years. And so it's a very different population, and therefore it takes a different type of business career service. So in the traditional sense, no, you're not going to have job fairs, you're not going to have those traditional services. We're still in the process of trying to decide exactly how those services would look. It's going to probably be more along the lines of opportunities for networking, perhaps professional development workshops, maybe even resume critiques. But again, it's such a new program right now that we're still trying to decide really what are the best services that we can offer that will make the most sense for our students.
Excellent. The next question is from Anuradha. Hi, how long is the program? Is it 1 or 2 years? And what would be the class timings? Would it be video on demand? So I'll answer part of this question and then I'll again throw it to Jody. So as we mentioned earlier, the program can last from 24 to 36 months, so between 2 and 3 years. It's flexible based on kind of your schedule. If you have a higher workload within your professional and family life, then you can elongate the program so that it works within your schedule and you can take it throughout the 36-month timeline, or if you'd like to complete the degree as soon as you possibly can, then you can complete it within that 24-month timeline. But it is 100% based on your preferences and your availability. And so, Jody, would you like to talk a little bit about kind of the class settings and how
Sure.
the classes work?
Right, and just to kind of add on to what Rosie said, I think we need to explain a little bit more about how it's laid out, the program itself. So the university is on a semester calendar. So fall and spring, that's 16 weeks. And what we've done with our program is we have taken our courses and we've put them into 8-week sessions. So you have 2 8-week sessions in the fall and spring, and you have 1 in the summer. So if you're interested in completing the degree in 2 years, what you'll need to do is complete 2 courses, 2 4-credit-hour courses every 8 weeks. And if you do that, then you're going to finish just under the 24 months. Now, in addition to the courses, you're going to have those 2 capstones that you're going to need to take, as well as the program end capstone. Now, the nice part about this is, again, that flexibility. So if circumstances change in your life, professionally, I can't talk today, I'm sorry, or personally, professionally, then you can make adjustments in that timeline to your degree. So you can do this program in 3 years, and in order to do that, you would take 1 course every 8 weeks. However, somewhere along there, you're going to have to double up at least once. But if you do that, then that is the 3 years. But again, that flexibility is there. It's great because if you start out on the 2-year track, and again, if things change, then you can alter how you want to map out how you receive your degree. So if you need to go down to 1 course in 8 weeks or then go back up to 2 later, you absolutely have that flexibility and can do that. As far as how the courses are done, there are live sessions in these courses, in the high engagement courses, and those happen once a week. So the courses themselves are structured on a weekly module basis. So the week starts on a Tuesday. No, it doesn't. It starts on a Wednesday, sorry, and it ends on Tuesdays. And somewhere in that week, your instructor is going to have at least 2 offerings for you to attend their live session. And so they really are live sessions. You go into a room like this through Zoom, just like we're doing now, and you can engage. If you have a webcam, you can be brought in by the moderator for the course. You can ask questions live of the instructor. And so that is really how the instructors are delivering their lectures or discussions, which is through these live sessions. I hope that answered your question.
So Rod asks, can I complete the program through Coursera courses prior to the admission and apply later with the full Coursera credit? As we mentioned earlier, Jody recommends that you take the Coursera courses at least 6 months to a year within the time span of when you will be taking the high engaging courses. And so if you complete the entire Coursera portion of it, while you can absolutely do that, we recommend that you at least go to those courses and review the materials that you've already completed. So it might be in your best interest to take them concurrently or take them within a time span that you'll be able to refresh your memory of the material.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great.
And then we're going to have our final question, and so that is from Catalina. English is my first language at work, and I completed my master's program in English. I have an old TOEFL exam result that expired. Do I need to retake the TOEFL? So Catalina, what I would recommend is for you to communicate with our team through either our office hours online or via email. Some of the things that I can tell you about the TOEFL or the IELTS requirement, if you visit our graduate college website, grad.illinois.edu, you can find their webpage on the TOEFL or IELTS requirement, the English proficiency requirement rather, and it'll tell you the list of exemptions to submitting a TOEFL or IELTS score. Some of those, one of them is if you've completed a degree from an institution that has been taken within a nation that English is the national language, then within 5 years, then you are exempt from the TOEFL or IELTS requirement. And there are exemptions outside of that. Jody, is there anything that I'm missing?
No, I think you covered it all.
Excellent. There are exemptions outside of that, and so for individual cases, as I mentioned earlier, please feel free to visit our online office hours and talk to one of our student counselors to get an in-depth review of whether or not to submit a TOEFL or an IELTS score. So with that, we will also be having an online office hour after this at 5:30 Central Time with one of our student counselors. You are welcome to continue having a conversation with our student counselor about your individual applications. If you have more questions about the program or the process of the application, our student counselor will be available to talk with you at 5:30 Central Time today. And there are other office hours available throughout the week. Please feel free to visit our website, onlinemba.illinois.edu.
And again, if you have questions, reach out to us. We're happy to answer those. Online, mba@illinois.edu. And we hope this was really helpful. We hope we answered a lot of your questions. And we're ready for you to apply and be a part of our program.
Thank you so much, and have a great rest of the day and week.
Thank you.